All right, it is time for our most cursed segment of the week, Call the Dogs. After last week, I apparently not learned my lesson, and I'm going to pick another really sketchy game. I've got UNLV plus 10.5 at Boise State. Whoever decides to play defense in this game, I think wins. The key for UNLV is the secondary. I think if they can come away with some key interceptions against Maddox Madsen and this Boise State offense, who's been very susceptible this season and is starting to play better, but if they can come up with a couple of key interceptions, I think that will decide the outcome of the game. I see another shootout. I think I had UNLV winning this game 41-35, but to be honest with you, after getting a scare from 1-5 Air Force last week, I don't feel confident about it at all. But I picked them to go to the playoffs initially this year. I'm still crossing my fingers that they could prove me right, which would be really cool, but not feeling too great about it right now. I'll turn it over to you, Landon. You got a lot more to talk about with Call the Dogs this week than I do.
All right, so after having no picks last week, I have three this week. Minnesota is hosting Nebraska, and they're 7.5 point dogs. Nebraska is just due for a screw up game. That's really my only basis behind this one. They're going on the road. Minnesota's not terrible. Just Nebraska is due to do what they do and just lose a game they shouldn't. So taking Minnesota plus 7.5. South Carolina is 5.5 point dogs at home against Oklahoma. Oklahoma looked terrible last week. John Mateer looked absolutely abysmal. These two teams are in very similar states right now, but South Carolina's got it at home. They really need this win. They're 3-3 right now after having really big expectations coming in this year. I think they snatched this one. And then Mississippi State traveling down to Florida. They're 9.5 point underdogs. This just feels like the time that Billy Napier finally runs out of luck. There's been a lot of games similar to this year where if the team lost, you just knew their coach was going to get fired. And pretty much all of those have hit. This feels like another one of those. So I'm going to ride with that and take State here.
Yeah, I like Mississippi State and South Carolina picks more and more after looking into them and talking about them with you. Just given what happened last year with South Carolina, Oklahoma, I mean, the dismantling that they put on Oklahoma, they were 3-3 just like this year. They go into Norman and completely dismantle them. And it's October, and they have Oklahoma at home after a tough loss against Texas with a very battered offense, right where they want them. I think South Carolina absolutely could win this game outright. At first, I had OU winning this game, and then I thought to myself, is a team with an injured quarterback, a non capable backup quarterback, a spotty passing game, no rushing offense. Are they going to be able to score points at South Carolina with a decent pass rush against them? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do really hot against South Carolina offensively. They might have some key plays that make it close. I'll get to my pick later, but that game's interesting. I also was thinking about picking Florida against Mississippi State. I just felt like Florida's got to find some wins, but to convince myself that Florida has to win football games is crazy because we're talking about the SEC. Mississippi State has a lot to prove too. They've already lost two football games. They need a win too. So it's not like they're playing an overhyped, undefeated Mississippi State team in the swamp, which in this case I probably would lean more towards Florida. But Mississippi State's battle tested and they play competitive football every week, other than Texas A&M, which I still thought was competitive for the first half mostly. And Florida's just so inconsistent. I don't know what I'm going to get. Whatever version of Florida I'm going to get, I won't know until they step on the field and kick the ball off the first quarter. So I'm sure my feelings will change on this game once the game starts and I start to see it play out. There's so many different outcomes for this, but I like Mississippi State too. It looks good for them. This is a really sneaky spot. They need to win badly. But I don't have any other Call the Dogs picks. I didn't really feel great about this week, but I like those last two games more and more. We see like a little bit more from these teams and what these outcomes could possibly look like. So I think that'll do it for Call the Dogs. We'll move on to our next segment.